All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Monday, September 25th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. And Clayton, this weekend at the box office, I can't say it was a huge weekend at the box office. I can't say that, but what I can say is it is a huge weekend here at the BO Boys because we've got a special guest. We got the special guest, podcast Jesus himself, Kirk Minihane is here. Kirk, thanks for joining the BO Boys.
Anytime, guys. Third time. Always excited to be here. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You got it. Third timers, which there's really no club for a third timer. So,
Sure.
I can't say this is a particularly special occasion, but
Sure.
it's
Good.
You're
The
racking up
charm. It's the charm anniversary.
Right.
Okay.
Third time charm.
Third time is the charm. Oh, that's where that comes from. You actually give a charm. Interesting.
You do, yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
So Kirk, we're going to get into this weekend and the Nun and the controversy between the Nun and Expendables 4, which was number one. We'll get into that.
Right.
But let's start off by talking about what you have going on at the Kirk Minihane show. Pay-per-view. I'm hearing there is a pay-per-view event coming up. So could you tell us about the Kirk Minihane pay-per-view experience?
Sure. So this coming Saturday, I guess, is the 30th, I think. Yeah, the 30th. We are in Maine, Saco, Maine, at a drive-in movie theater, which we started doing during the pandemic, different drive-in movie theaters. So we're doing the show from there. We're naming a new producer, saying goodbye to our old producer. 2 Minute fans are getting married at this wedding, at this show as well. So pay-per-view, barstool.tv/PPV, $9.99. It's a steal twice.
Wow.
So go do it. Thousands of people have already purchased them, told. So get moving, get buying. You got 5 days left. Help me, it's an interesting to me study. I want to see how we do because I want to take the show more on the road. It's smaller venues. If we can drag a couple of thousand people on pay-per-view each time, fantastic. Makes it easier. So yeah, barstool.tv/PPV. And if you pay attention to my show at all, this producer search has been wild the last 2 months. It finally culminates. I think actually maybe 6 weeks ago, the last time I was on with you guys was the show following my producer announcing that he was leaving the show. So it's been whole search. Yeah. So
I listened to that show the next day because you finished the show, then you got on with us, and you were talking about on that episode was the episode where your producer Cullinane finally I guess he whatever happened, and that was the final straw, the mutual parting of the ways. And you did mention on that episode, and now he's got to sit there and listen while I go yuck it up with the BO Boys.
Correct. Yep, that's it. And he had to do it. He wasn't happy about it, but it was a good run. But I'm telling you, for me, show-wise, download, people are so into this thing, are my crowd. And it ends Saturday. I don't even know I'm going to hire yet. You guys know. You've gone through interns and producers and all these things. Yeah. I don't know yet of these final 5 candidates. I'm not sure I'm going to know until Saturday night. For sure, we won't announce until the pay-per-view. So that I can promise.
Is there room, and I know you've said that you've got it down to 5, is there room to throw a monkey wrench in all this and to throw a brand new name into the hat? Because I'm going to throw something at you right now. Wannabe senior intern Christopher.
Now, I like him. Yeah.
He's a little on the young side. He's basically he would be going with a real youth movement over at the Kirk Minihane show. He is a junior in college, so whatever age that is, it's like 19 or 20.
It'd be tough to have him going to school full time while producing the show. But I'm listening.
Right. I mean, I think it would be, is he willing to drop out? And are you willing to take a college dropout? Or any of your current producer candidates, are they college graduates, any of them?
Yeah, I know for sure one is. I have one who is last in his high school class.
Okay.
I've made it clear to these guys, I don't mean to be graphic. You guys do your own stuff, but I've made it clear to these guys that they're not allowed to have any intercourse while they're working for me. If they mistakenly knock up their wife or girlfriend or whatever, I don't want to know about it, but the thing's got to go away. Like, you're working for this show 24/7, 365. I just signed a 4-year contract to Barstool through 2027. So that's your entire life. So if senior intern Chris, I don't know what pact you sign with these guys, but that's the way it is. So you eat, sleep, drink. The show is your entire, as it should be, by the way, for a great podcast like the BO Boys. That should be your entire life. I mean, it should be your entire existence. I mean, we're talking about the kind of podcast where if somebody's bicycling around France, you get mobbed by fans.
Right.
I mean, this is what happens.
Yeah. So, I could have used my intern on the spot in that situation.
That was very dangerous. I mean, that was very, so that's what I'm saying. So when you have that kind of level, like we're lucky enough to have, you need somebody who's dedicated, like we are dedicated. You guys eat, sleep, and drink box office all the time. I eat, sleep, and drink the Kirk Minihane show. So if Chris is ready to drop out of school, it's not almost like when they walk into when they see Miscavige for the first time and you walk in the Scientology building, you have to sign your life over.
Yes.
Sign your life over. That's it. That's all.
Got it.
Yeah, it's like a million-year contract.
Yes. Yeah. Chris would no longer be 19. It'd be some Scientology age. I don't know what age that is for 19, but that number would be that number. Yeah.
Right. I mean, listen, I think this is a great opportunity. I think it might be worth Christopher going clear and joining the church of Kirk Minihane. So these 5 candidates that you have left, and I've been listening, I've been loving this producer's search.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you have one guy who, from what I could gather, he owes money to fans of yours. So I don't know.
He's a gambling addict. Yep. One's a gambling addict. One is completely insane. He is like harassing our own advertisers. He was harassing one of our advertisers who's a clothing outlet in New England. Milton's a great clothing store.
Right.
So I made him get on his hands and knees and crawl around the entire mall and then land at the Milton's place and apologize to this guy. We've had other, the whole thing's been nuts. We've had one producer claim that he had the answers to the Las Vegas shooting and that the Saudi government broke into his home, which he turned out to be lying about. So, I mean,
he broke his own door, right? I heard that one.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want somebody who can turn the friggin' microphone cameras on. I can't do any of that. Right. And just be a breathing human being. I'm not asking for a lot here, but it is, spurred and sparked a lot of conversation and controversy. But so, yeah, last one, barstool.tv/PPV. That's enough of my show. I'm with the BO boys now.
Okay.
Don't worry about me. I serve it. When I'm here, I am a wanna BO boy. I don't know how many times, like, I'll never be a BO boy. I'm a wanna BO boy. I don't know how many times. There must be a name in between if you're on like 8 times or something. Is there something in between, or is it just you either are or you aren't? I just need to know.
We've got to sit down. Our Constitution is a living document, so we're always updating this.
Sure.
And I do think it's time for us to set some levels, some stages for different people of different levels of importance here.
Okay.
Beyond the internship program, of course.
Sure, I'm not a Mendelssohn or anything. I get that, but I'm saying, you move your way up. That's all.
Right. Yeah. No, we've got to make sure that people can earn their way up in this organization. So no, you're right. Yeah. We've got to get on that. But Clayton, I think in the meantime,
what I was going to say, but when we do take you up to that higher echelon, I do think that's something for our pay-per-view. Is to crown you
happy to help
as whatever that higher stature is, which we are, TBD at the moment.
Sure.
That's our pay-per-view.
I'm in 2 seconds. I'm there.
Or it's a Fathom event. I mean, BO boys.
I like that.
We Fathom it.
I like
it. I mean, listen, the way with the strikes and all that, these theaters are going to need content. So, Kirk, thank you for bringing something to the Saco Drive-In Theater. Yeah. And, Clayton, let's get into this plow because the movie theaters, they need more pay-per-view events based on what happened this past weekend. So if you could get into the top 5 for this weekend of Friday, September 22nd.
Number 1, in a shocker, The Nun 2 made $8.4 million, down 42%. It lost 207 theaters. It's at $69.2 million in its third weekend. Number 2, Expendables 4 made $8.3 million in its first weekend. Number 3, A Haunting in Venice made $6.3 million, down 56%. It has no theater change. It is at $25.3 million in its second frame. Number 4, Equalizer 3 made $4.7 million, down 35%. It lost 258 theaters. It's at $81.2 million in its fourth weekend. Number 5, got them IMAXs, Barbie, $3.2 million, down only 16%. It lost 378 theaters. It's at $630.4 million in its 10th weekend. That is your top 5.
All right. I mean, the big story coming into that is the underperformance of Expendables 4. I mean, and we called it, Clayton, I think both you and I both had this as a single digit opener, even though the tracking was still mid-teens.
Yes.
And we called this opening under 10. I called The Nun coming in number 1 over Expendables 4 Now, there's a lot to go over here. Sly Stallone, these action movies as a genre, possibly being dead. But I'm going to throw something out there for everyone to start with. I'm looking at the title treatment of Expendables, how they actually title this movie. And it's one of those cutesy ones where instead of Expendables Part 4, it's Expendables with a 4 instead of the A in the middle.
Very weird.
So, Kirk, I'm going to throw out there, is this too confusing for the audience that wants an action movie, wants a Stallone movie, to try and trick them with using a 4 instead of an A?
Look, I don't think he's the greatest actor of all time, but I will say this. I have spent more time watching Sylvester Stallone movies in my life than any other actor's movies. Between Rocky and Rambo and Cobra and Tango and Cash and all these movies. I grew up with Stallone. So Stallone means a lot to me. So I was in for I saw Expendables 4 in the movie theater this weekend. I had to do it. I owe it to him. Wow. It was beyond hard. It was horrible. Horrible. Look, as you guys know, we're not critics here, right? But I just want to say that and it got a B- cinema score, which is brutal.
Yeah, that's bad.
But like my thing, yes, that's a confusing and dumb way, trying way too hard. B, like, in the other movies before, I had a lot of fun with those movies. You had Bruce Willis. I understand he can't be in now. You had Mel Gibson. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger. You had Harrison Ford. You had all these guys. Like, where I heard you guys talk
Wesley
about
Snipes.
Like, where's Liam Neeson in this movie? And I keep saying this all the time, and nobody cares, but Rocky fans care. I just don't know why Carl Weathers in every one of these movies. Right. But like, where is the Nicolas Cage? Where is the Chuck Norris is in one of them? Like, where you have to make this more tongue in cheek. This was essentially like a Statham, Megan Fox. Like, this movie could have so easily just been dumped on demand like 6 months ago, and nobody would have known. I don't get it. Yeah. The franchise is obviously dead. It's not even going to do well overseas. But I don't know. It just seems so half-assed. It never had a chance. It was not even promoted. It was just dead on arrival. And it's sort of a sad thing for me, because this is going to be it for Stallone. Like, he's kind of always every half decade or so kind of rescued himself. But like, this is it. This is kind of a sad way to go home.
Yeah. If you look at his box office history, he's really been able to stay relevant because of Rambo and Rocky. The Creed movies. Yeah, right. And even that last Rambo in 2019, it did get to 91 million total, 40, basically a split 45 domestic worldwide. But I do think it's pretty clear, aside from those two marquee characters, which one of them he's kind of is on such outs with the Rocky producers that you may never see him in another Creed or Rocky movie again.
Winkler, yeah.
It seems like he just can't open these. Now, is he in this movie? Because based on the trailer, Clayton and I were both theorizing that he's basically a cameo in Expendables.
He's in it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but he's in it. Something happens to him. He's in the movie. I'll say that.
He's in the movie.
Not for a lot. Wow. Not for a lot.
Oh, boy.
You guys say this all the time, and this is one where I think it actually works. Like, wouldn't it be worth $3 million to have Logan Paul in this movie?
Yes.
Like what?
Yes.
That's like you talk about. Like, that is where he should be in this movie. He would be promoting it like crazy. He'd be on YouTube. He'd be on WWE. He'd be all over the place. And kids like Harry, my son. I always use my son Harry as an example. He has no interest in seeing the. But you put Logan Paul in as like the ass kicking like young guy in the Expendables who like is trying to learn his way around, and Stallone breaks his balls. Home run.
Yeah, and he'd recreate.
He would have done it.
He'd recreate a big stunt from the movie in real life. Like he'd let himself get thrown out of a plane, and he'd hold a GoPro and an iPhone while he did it.
And guess what he'd be able to do right now? He'd promote the movie.
Yes,
like,
he would.
No one else is promoting movies. He'd be promoting it all the time.
Yes. Even if he is in SAG, it wouldn't matter to Logan Paul. Paul is promoting.
He's not like what's Jessica Chastain or a Clayton. Like, he's not, he's not one of these people, one of these loyalists. No.
Yeah. A member in bad standing. I don't know about Jessica Chastain, if she's paid her dues or not. I'm sure she has somebody doing it for her. But
that's been the main hang up for Clayton paying his dues, is he just hasn't had someone doing the paperwork.
It's so much paperwork.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah.
So this trailer really sold this as a Curtis 50 Cent vehicle.
A lot of that.
And would you say that is he kind of the lead with Statham in this movie?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's fast. It's like an hour and 38 minutes or something. Like it had a couple of huge explosions, but it also felt like I didn't feel this way about the first one, and it kind of got in each one more and more so. This one felt cheap.
Yes.
It just felt like when you're watching it, it felt like one of those movies that pop up on demand that like, Willis did for a while, or like Al Pacino was in one where you're like, oh, like Mel Gibson's in one with Cole Hauser. And you're like, oh, it looks like it costs like $10 million.
Right.
Yeah. So it just was like, I went out of loyalty for all the years I spent watching Rocky and Rambo movies. Like I felt like I owed Stallone that. Had to do it.
It's tough to open a movie based purely on loyalty and an audience feeling bad for the star.
Yeah.
That's
if they would have used the tagline Expendables 4, you owe me this. I mean, then it would be like, okay, I could see that, but you could only do that once. You couldn't do that for the fifth one. You couldn't say, hey, you still owe me. It's like, now I did my deed for you.
And I still think this, I don't think this indicates that the action genre itself is dying. I'm not buying that. I think when people are perceived as dinosaurs or in a movie where they're not even trying, then it's dead. Like, I mean, I don't know, what's Meg 2 made worldwide? I should know that.
Meg 2 has gotten to at least a couple $100 million worldwide. I mean, it's way down from the first one.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying it's still a market for stupid kind of action-y movies, but this just, it felt like a dump too this time of year, and it's just not.
Yeah, I mean, Lionsgate, I think, knew it had a stinker on its hands. It's really allocating a lot of its money towards Saw X, which I know Pat's very high on. I'm a little bit lower on.
God, I heard him in the preview. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. He's true. Well, it's Kirk. They bought a song for the commercial. Can you believe that?
It's very weird. Yeah, what song was that?
They bought a Holly song. They bought The Air That I Breathe. And they did the creepy version.
All I need is the air. Right, yeah. Between that and who knew the power of the great box office star? The Expendables 4, Clayton, that put Ellen Burstyn in it, then forget it. It probably would have opened 90, 100 huge. One of the great. If she was there with but you wouldn't go, Clayton, if Ellen Burstyn was there. How about her and Jane Fonda maybe with guns, like as the bad guys, like in these movies? Maybe a crossover, like the book club.
So
I love you as a guest, but I'd be up out of my chair right now.
Right.
You'd see like a dust cloud that looks like me, and I'd be at the theater.
That would be a good movie. The book club girls versus the Expendables. Like,
yes.
At this point, it's a fair fight because as jacked as those guys were and are, age evens out everybody.
And you have the ultimate historical irony of maybe Stallone's playing Rambo, a Vietnam veteran, and Jane Fonda realizes her mistakes of the past and takes a gun away from a Vietnam veteran and goes to war. Like everything is full circle here.
Wow. So they're playing meta versions of themselves.
I'm in for that. Yeah.
Hanoi Jane herself. Repents.
Right. Or Stallone just blows her away for it. Something like that. These things could work.
Yeah. The Expendables movies did need to go more in that direction because everyone, more tongue in cheek. I mean, listen, we all said that when we came out that second one. It's like you get Webster in here, you get, the brawny paper towel guy in there. Like they needed to start going in that direction. Instead, just Megan Fox and 50 Cent. That's not enough. They had to go full nutso, get the book club crossover.
Right.
Now, Kirk, I know you talk a lot on your show with movies about the schwing factor, right? Is there a schwing factor?
All the time, yeah.
Megan Fox, was there a schwing factor here?
I feel like she's swung out. I feel like maybe nothing against her. She's a lovely woman, but I feel like her peak in terms of people paying attention to her is, I feel like maybe that I'm trying to think it was too late, but if they could have cast that woman who went on that rant on the airplane.
Yes, that's a great one.
That might have been better. But I feel like Megan Fox's time is that kind of person that's come and gone. And I think you guys said this. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if her and Statham had been like some movie that went on demand like a year ago. Like, there's no appetite for those. I don't care. I feel like when I'm watching it, it's like a 12th knockoff of Mr. and Mrs. Smith almost. I'm like, why am I? What do I care about these people?
It was weird in the trailer how much they pushed that as the selling point, that it was going to be Statham and Megan Fox as a couple, because the Expendables were always, here's a team of 80s steroided out freakazoid action stars. Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah.
What
Now,
are we
I
doing?
do
And I'm gonna throw out a name of who could have been. And again, I think you would have had to move fast on the casting. But I think if they had Lauren Boebert in there in the Megan
Oh,
Fox role,
yes. There you go.
and that video broke this week,
Right.
that's like another $8 or $10 million in the opening weekend box
That's
office.
a good one. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's a relevant current. And listen, we don't do politics, huh? We are not political show. I'm talking just in terms of
Right.
babes of the moment. That is someone who I think would have added
Ooh, I would
the swing factor.
She worked for me. I like that. Yeah, that would have worked. Maybe, yeah, her and Statham like going to see a play at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
They start fooling around, and all of a sudden the bad guys come in and take over. Then you're off to the races.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Now-
That would have made that video make so much more sense too if it was like secret promotion for a movie she starred in.
Yeah, and again, she's not a member of SAG. Like she could promote away.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, she could absolutely talk
1000%.
about it everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a soft pitch for the fifth one. If they're going to do it, what they would need to do is tackle what is the biggest issue facing all of America is, of course, we saw it with Sound of Freedom. And again, I don't want to get political, but if they did the child trafficking thing, if they went after the child traffickers, I mean, do you think Expendables 5 could have some Bobo if they just went full on Statham,
You could put
Megan Fox, Stallone,
Caviezel.
add Caviezel?
Yeah, put Caviezel. You can put Caviezel as Jesus if you want. Like you can do anything you want with Caviezel. Yeah, that could work.
Right. The original Expendable.
I mean, Jesus is old. Yeah, that could work.
I think the issue with that pitch is Caviezel is too big for the Expendables, which is a
That's
sad
true.
statement for all these 80s stars.
True.
But
Probably
he's not coming in to just be an expendable. All those guys would have to be minor players in a Sound of Freedom sequel.
That's
Right.
true.
Jesus, I
Yeah.
didn't think of that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And that is I think that is a statement about how could we say the action movie is dead? Sound of Freedom is an action movie that just did 170 million domestic over the summer. It's
True.
The action movie's not dead. It's just the action stars have moved away from Stallone and Schwarzenegger and obviously Bruce Willis. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is the nail in the coffin of Stallone being able to do anything other than a Rocky or Rambo. I kind of feel like we probably won't see another Rambo movie at this point.
But yeah, I think you're right. But I mean, it's still like, if I can for a moment, one of the great box office careers of all time. Huge ups, huge downs, always like every 5 or 6 years, like I said, would do something. You're like, oh, and it would make 100 million. So yeah, cliffhanger, all of them. Stallone has given me thousands of hours of joy. So I do want, and when he wanted to, again, I'm not here to, but whether it was top late, I think he should have won the Oscar for the first Creed movie. I thought he was unbelievable in that. I mean, Violence winning is one of the great, for Bridge of Spies, that Boar Fest is one of the great tragedies in American film history. So I love Stallone. I'll ride with him forever.
Yeah.
The other thing with the Kirk, I mean, this because you've been a fan forever. He's also an accomplished screenwriter. I think people don't realize how many of his movies he's had a hand in. Mm-hmm. I mean, all these other guys, they lifted weights, but the heaviest weight you'll ever lift is a pen to an empty piece of paper.
I mean, the man wrote Cobra. What else can you say? The man wrote Cobra. He gave us
that's the thing.
I mean, what else can you say? It's true.
Yeah. So great man, great writer. And you know what? You're a box office. Once you're a box office star, you're a box office star forever. So they can't take that away from Stallone. They can, though, take it away from 50 Cent.
3 people in the theater, by the way, counting me. Just
okay.
Sad. It's kind of hard.
Wow. Were any of them still sleeping from a previous screening?
No, they were not. No, they were not. That is me. The George Clooney film Solaris Soderbergh 2002. I fell asleep and woke up in the middle of the next Solaris screening. The guy didn't even come and clean. I literally woke up and it was the middle of the next movie. That happened in 2002.
Wow.
Did you pick up from where you slept off? And
I don't even remember. I was so baffled by it. But yeah, no, I did not. I don't think I did.
Well, that actually was how it was intended to be watched. It was a very, difficult film because were intended to fall asleep halfway
Oh,
through it.
it worked. Yeah, it had the
Yeah.
desired effect. Yeah.
So, Kirk, we want to get your hits on a couple because this is a very franchise-heavy top
Yeah.
5 right now. A lot of threequels in
Mhm.
there. So, action. I mean, again, how can we say action is dead? Equalizer 3, not as big a hit as the other two, but it's at $81 million domestic after 4 weeks. Have you,
Right.
first of all, have you seen this film? Is this a film like the Stallone movies where you felt obligated to go, or did you have actual genuine interest in Equalizer 3?
I haven't yet.
Mhm.
I saw the first 2, saw the first in the theater, saw the second not in the theater. I will probably see the 1 point. Will it get to 100 million domestic or no? Not 19 million more, right?
It will not get there.
90?
It'll get to 90. Basically, the first two movies each got just over
Yeah.
100, like
Almost
101,
exactly the same, right?
102.
Yeah.
But this is tracking now behind both of those movies after their 4 weeks, but it will get to 90, which
That's still pretty
these
great.
seem. Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
What a
Yeah,
career.
with with the franchise fatigue, the way it's been, we saw it this summer, with Mission Impossible 7, with the new Indiana Jones. The fact that this is gonna make 90 is spectacular, and it's all on the back of Denzel.
No
There's
question.
nothing else in this film to put the butts in the seats except for him. He is a butts in the seats star.
Yeah, no, if you went to a Equalizer 3 screening and asked everybody there who the director is and name me 2 other stars in the movie other than Denzel, no one could do it. Not a single
No.
person. It is all, you are right. It is all Denzel.
No. They'd be furious at you for asking who the director of these movies
That
are.
is true. They would take it personally. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's true. We're in a third Expendables movie, and there is no even attempt at a added value for this movie. There is no villain. There is
Oh,
no
you mean
world.
Equalizer?
Equalizer 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Equalizer 3. There is no attempt at, oh, this is the big hot world issue that Equalizer is going to tackle
No
now. This
spin-off.
is
Yeah, nothing. Right.
Well,
nothing.
they didn't do the John Wick thing where it was like, yeah, but what about this secret world Equalizers belongs to? There's tattooed women answering the phone and gold pieces. It's like, no, it's Denzel and he kills people. That is it.
Yeah. So Equalizer 3, another 3 that's out there right now. The third Detective Poirot movie from Kenneth Branagh, Haunting at Venice, and that's doing pretty poorly. It's at 25 million after 2 weeks. I mean, this thing's going to top out in the 30s. Have you ever had interest in these, Kirk? Do the Minifans, do they ever call up? When this opened last weekend, did you get any calls?
No, nobody was doing the Perot impression thing there. No. That's a movie. I just feel like that movie, that whole series got like, Glass Onion or whatever. Like it just never really took off. And there was not a big appetite. The first one did well. I saw the first one in the theater with my daughter. We were at a swim meet for her. We got snowed in and we were at a mall right across the street from the hotel. We went to see it. I couldn't tell you one thing about it. It was fine. I know there's an IP there. There's no audience for that. No, that movie. This is the first conversation I've ever had with anybody about that franchise in my entire life, including my daughter who I would see the movie with. I don't think I've ever.
I was going to say, yeah.
No, I think she was like, yeah, it was okay. This is the right now on record, historical record. This is the first time I've ever talked about this franchise, and I don't have a single thought in my head other than you guys have said it. It's like the Expendables in that the quality of the cast keeps, the first one was, Johnny Depp and the girl who was still kind of hot from Star Wars.
Michelle Pfeiffer was in it.
Pfeiffer was in it, and now it's getting. I like Tina Fey, like everybody does, but lower and lower and lower to the point where if they did another one, I think it would be like Pauly Shore and the Richard Klein, the actor who played Larry Dallas on Three's Company, who I like, but I think that's who you'd be talking about.
But definitely a lower quality than Tina Fey when it comes to actors.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
That is the next step after Tina Fey is the neighbor from Three's Company.
Larry,
that's
who I liked. Yeah.
He was good. Are the Ropers are both dead?
Yes. Audra Lindley, who was married in real life for a while to the guy who played Brooks in Shawshank Redemption.
Really?
Yes, she was. And Norman Fell. They've both expired.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but they'll
Norman
be good.
Fell
They'll be good in that. Yeah.
he feels more like an expendable cast member, Norman Fell.
Well, he would be like if they broke into a place and they were doing some secret undercover like spying, like he'd be the grumpy like custodian who like opened the door and then was like, "What are you guys doing?" Then he'd go back to work. Like he would do that. It'd be a laugh break for the audience. I'd be laughing. I'd be eating my Reese's Pieces, laughing at the whole thing.
Yeah. That would be great. So now I do feel like it is a shame he's dead. I officially feel that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, speaking of like, what about Joe Isuzu? Is he still alive?
That's a good one.
I mean, he could be Expendables 5, definitely, Joe Isuzu.
I was thinking the guy from the 80s used to talk really fast in the commercials. But yeah, Joe Isuzu would be good too. Yeah.
Yeah, the Micro Machines guy as we know him as. Yeah.
Right. Or the guy from Police Academy with the voices, Michael Winslow.
Michael Winslow. Yeah, you could get him to play a bunch of parts in A Haunting in Venice 4.
Police Academy will be back, by the way. That's my that in the next 2 years that will be back.
That is a ripe IP, I do believe. Absolutely. Because the thing is too, with the, not to get political obviously, but it's like the new spin is that everybody hates them.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they go out on the street and they've got to fight against all these people who are saying like, you shouldn't even be here.
Fund you, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could work.
Right. Yeah. So Police Academy 9 defund us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Gutenberg's Gutenberg's the old guy, and he's in charge. That whole thing.
He's the captain. Yeah, and he's like, in my day we used to do this stuff and everything. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna just pour a little water on this though, which I think is gonna make us all sad. It will be a streaming series. We know this. This will not be a movie.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, that'll be like an 8-part series. But that's
cool. This is a freebie. This is a freebie series for sure.
Right. Yeah, and I do apologize. I know you guys don't want to promote pay-per-view. I should be doing this in movie theaters. I do apologize, but that's the best I can do.
So
you're moving up. I mean, next thing you know, it's in theaters. You got to start somewhere.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Haunting in Venice, it's a bad spot to be in for that franchise where we are now just saying that actors could either be that in the next one of that or an Expendables movie. You don't want to be in a situation with your franchise where an actor could choose between you or Expendables 5.
I'm endlessly fascinated by sorry, Clay. I'm endlessly fascinated by studios that, like, if they came and pitched me this third one, I would know that it would make no money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Why did are they just saying the second one it was a troubled production? We know a couple of the guys have been canceled, Like, why did they say, yes, let's throw a bunch of money in here and like nobody thought that was going to make money?
I think my theory is it's a little bit of a blank check for Branagh because and we all forget this, he won an Oscar like a year ago. He won the screenplay Oscar for Belfast. Yes.
Belfast, yeah.
So I think coming off of that, he gets the offer from all these studios. Hey, what is your next thing? If you keep it at $20 million or less, we'll make it because you just won an Oscar. And for whatever reason, his dream project is he wanted to do another one of these Detective Poirot movies.
Very odd. Very odd.
I think it's just his passion project.
Yeah, I think it's true. I think they want to have a relationship with Branagh, and I think this is how you do it. But after this, that's really going to be hard. It's really going to be hard for him to really feasibly make another theatrical version of this. And I don't think he'd be willing or interested to port this over to like Hulu. Because at that point we are looking into the cast that we mentioned. And I mean, if you're Googling obituaries to see if you can cast somebody, that is not a sort of franchise that should continue.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other franchise that's still going, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, is that something that you have ever had a conversation about in real life? Have any of the Minifans called up asking your opinion on Big Fat Greek Wedding?
They have not. No, they have not. Again, I guess I'm asking the same question. The second one did better than I remembered it. I was listening to you guys, but still, I don't think there's a human being who wanted. I don't understand the appeal. Although I guess the drop for this wasn't terrible, right? Am I wrong?
It wasn't terrible. I mean, 37%. It's at 23.8 million. It is one of those movies where that low of a comedy, it's doing better than the old lady movies we got in the last
Mm-hmm.
year. It's doing better than Book Club, the next chapter. It's doing better, I think, than 80 for Brady.
Oh yeah, that made like 50 million. So if this makes 50 million, I mean that's okay.
I might be wrong on that, but it's in that ballpark. But it definitely is better than Book Club 2. So it's doing okay for what it is. I mean, this is clearly a vanity project. This is another one of those too where you almost needed it to go into a crossover route where combine this with Haunting in Venice. You know, My Big Fat Greek Haunting in Venice, and you get that crossover, and she's out there looking for romance at a wedding, and then a ghost kills the groom, something like that. These studios need to do more crossovers for these dead IPs. You know, it's like everyone's trying to make the Saw Patrol meme happen next weekend. They should have just done the Saw Patrol movie instead of just trying to get the meme happen. Like, actually get Saw to start torturing these cartoon puppies. Like, you have to start do more Alien versus Predator type movies with Big Fat Greek Wedding, Haunting in Venice.
I mean, was this movie cheap? I mean, it looks like it's on location. I don't, was it expensive? Did it cost 40, 50K? It can't cost that much, right?
Oh, I feel like it had to have been cheap.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it being
right?
Yeah, I couldn't see it being a big expenditure. Now, just for context, 80 for Brady made 39. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that is definitely, I don't know if that's in the sights for Big Fat Greek Wedding, but let's look budget wise.
I think My
It's
Big Fat
probably
Greek
pretty
Wedding
low.
3 is probably a movie that also gets greenlit in the aftermath of that first Book Club movie. You know, the sort of old lady comedy genre gets revived. So you get 80 for Brady gets greenlit, and you get My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 gets greenlit. You know, a franchise that started as a young people romantic comedy ends as a old people laugh at how old they are franchise.
How about my, like, you sort of almost go like in the more of a trash, like My Big Fat Greek Murder, where she kills John Corbett or something.
Yes.
She's in jail, like that kind of, but she actually didn't do it, but she falls in love with her lawyer who's played by whoever.
Right.
Maybe almost like a Gone Girl kind of thing.
Yeah, I do wish more long-running franchise would do things like that, where they just completely switch genre for movies in. Because you'll get the original fans are going no matter what, and then you could get new fans. So
the budget on this thing is $5 million.
Okay.
Oh, wow, really?
Okay.
Oh, well, that's a win.
Yeah.
So that's a huge win. Plus, it'll do Buffo Streamo.
Right. I was gonna say it's gonna kill where Max, wherever it winds up. Yeah.
Okay. So you got to make that movie. Yeah.
5 million. Jesus.
I know. Can you believe Corbin would do it? I mean, he should be making $5 million.
Isn't he married to somebody older? Is he married to Bo Derek?
Oh, that'd be great. Bo Derek, that's a great expendable.
Oh, she would be a good expendable. John
So
Corbett is married to Bo Derek.
Wow, good for him. Oh yeah, so he's fine with, you could pay me $40. I got 10 money.
He got himself a 10.
Yeah, should be a good book club. Yeah.
So just looking at some of the other things that are out there before we look ahead. So Dumb Money is a new movie that's still platforming. It hasn't gone wide. It's at 2.8 million to 2.5 million this weekend on 600 screens, only 4,000 a screen. This is a movie that, Clayton and I talked about last week when it came out in just its first 10 theaters. It's really suffering from not having any actors to promote. I mean, like Kirk, if SAG was out there, you'd have Seth Rogen and America Ferrer and all these, Paul Dano would have been on the Kirk Minihane show, giving you their assessments of your producer search, but they cannot do that because of the SAG strike.
Yeah, you're right. No, this movie needs that. Yeah, this was kind of DOA. You guys saw it? You said or no?
We have not seen it yet. I do still want to see this movie.
Reviews are good. I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, this. But I think you're right. I think it's like we said about A Big Fat Greek Wedding. This will wind up on Netflix or whatever and probably do great, I would guess.
Yeah. So I think let's look ahead to a couple of the big ones that we want to get your opinion on, Kirk. So you touched on it earlier when you were talking about Ellen Burstyn needing to be in an Expendables movie.
Oof, what a star. I mean, I can't believe all the movies I watched as a kid with Ellen Burstyn growing, whether it was a Spitfire Grill, God, I must have watched that 70, 80 times. I mean, it's just, she kicked my buddies and I would hang out and watch Ellen Burstyn movies all the time. She's probably, I would go, Cruise as a kid, Stallone, Cruise, Harrison Ford. But even then, like my dad said, do you want to watch Air Force One or do you want to watch, an Ellen Burstyn movie? I would say, Dad, like, come on, it's Ellen time. And we had a dance. We had an Ellen dance for Ellen Burstyn before Ellen DeGeneres. She just made us dance. We used to dance around the house when Ellen Burstyn movies would come on.
Wow. I mean, there's so many like you. I mean, that's why Exorcist, that's why Pat is so excited about this Exorcist movie.
When I was in the trailer, when I saw the first trailer for that with my son, my 11-year-old son, Harry, when they show young Ellen Burstyn from The Exorcist and they show her old face, Harry went ape shit. Like he was jumping up and down. He went fucking. I was like, Harry, we all feel this way, but you got to relax, buddy.
So did he just spontaneously do the dance that you had done, and you did not even prompt or teach this dance?
Look, I don't want to be graphic. He was a boy before that. He was a man after.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna say, like, I watched him become a man. It was exciting. It was an exciting process.
Just the trailer made him a man.
Yeah. Just the trailer.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to be careful with Ellen Burstyn. You don't want to get too much too soon.
Oh no, that's a danger. That is a danger. Is she a bigger star than Taylor Swift right now?
Yes, I think definitely. Pat would say so. Yeah.
I mean,
listen, in a concert movie. I don't know that. I'm not going to confirm that, but people have told me she's in
it. Taylor's been trying to get her to do a duet on this tour. And Ellen's just not been able to make it work in her schedule yet. But we talked about when the Taylor Swift movie announced its date and then Exorcist Believer moved. Clayton and I both said that was a terrible move.
With you guys.
And of course, my belief is that Ellen Burstyn shouldn't move for anyone unless she's dancing.
Of course.
But she should not move, and she should not have moved. But that movie is coming out October 6th. I've pegged this is a big movie that people are excited for Ellen Burstyn to come back for the first time in an Exorcist movie. Obviously, you're excited about this, Kirk, but Clayton, you still don't fully think that this Exorcist Believer is going to be a huge deal.
Now,
it's tracking in the 20s, I think, the last time we saw it.
I believe one of the problems with a lot of people is that they don't know history. Mm-hmm. And that is why history repeats itself, because they do not understand history. I am going by the fact that no other Exorcist movie has succeeded on any level the way the first one did. The first one was a phenomenon. It was a best-selling book, and then was a best-selling movie. I mean, sorry, a Bafa Bobo movie, and then it was, it got a bunch of noms. Crazy for a horror movie. Then every successive movie after that has failed at the box office. So why now would I then say, well, this is the one to break the curse? I mean, like Ellen Burstyn's back. We know that's one in the plus column, right?
Yeah,
so we can add a few mil for that. Otherwise, now it's 2 teenagers. Can you believe it? 2 teenagers are being possessed. Wow. Can you believe that? Crazy.
Side by side bet.
Plus. Side by side bets. Awesome. Otherwise, I don't see any pluses in this. Any reason why the kids of today are going to embrace this when so many generations before them have rejected this IP. Because
would
it's
you
not
be
like
more
the
excited?
Halloween.
Would you be more excited if instead of the side-by-side beds for the possessed kids, it was bunk beds? Would that speak more to a young modern audience? They're in bunk beds getting possessed.
I mean, bunk beds are always a plus, right?
Right.
I mean, if you're looking to get the young kids in excited, every kid wants to have a bunk bed, even if they have no one else to share the room with. Bunk beds are cool. So yeah, I think maybe it adds $500,000 to this.
Okay.
But that's not enough to build a franchise on.
But here's the problem with that versus the other franchises is let's say those kids are on bunk beds in a different movie and the kid goes to say goodnight to his bunk bed buddy and it's Jason or it's Freddy or it's Michael Myers. That's that. Who's The Exorcist is not Michael. It's what is The Exorcist? What are we doing? It doesn't.
It's the devil. It's the devil himself.
Yeah, but like Michael, I know these Halloween movies open well, but that was Michael Myers and it was Jamie Lee Curtis, and there was I don't know what's going on here. I know what The Exorcist is, but it's 50 years old. It doesn't. There's no. I'm telling you, there's going to be That movie's going to open under $20 million. That's
Love it. I agree.
Under 20 million. Under 20 million. 18.6. That's what I think it's going to open.
Wow. That is a bold statement.
Yeah.
I love it. Listen, obviously I'm pushing this as a huge movie, but
I'll go see it. But yeah, I'm not feeling like a movie like Talk to Me is going to do better just because it's a cooler concept, or Barbarian, or like it doesn't, for kids, they just like the concept now. They don't care about the history of The Exorcist. It means nothing to them.
Yeah. And there's not, like you said, there's not that person to hang the interest on, like even The Nun, which, listen, I mean, The Nun, 3 weeks in a row, this Nun is number one. Amazing. But that's something to hang something on. It's a scary nun. This is, and I guess, when Brett was here, our horror correspondent from the New Flesh podcast, he mentioned the actual name of this demon that possessed the original girl. But is it two different demons now that possessed these two girls? Or is it doubling up? Is it now able to possess two people at once?
Well, there's your hook. There's your hook.
Well,
it's confusing.
I mean, it's confusing. It's so confusing. You know what's not confusing? A guy in a white William Shatner mask with a knife. That confuses nobody.
So I'll throw this out to you guys. The Nun, 3 weeks in a row, number one, which is incredible. It is at a total of $69 million after 3 weeks. Probably going to make over $80 million. I mean, almost definitely. It just made $8 million this weekend, so it'll get over 80.
Make more than The Exorcist total in the U.S. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah. Insidious for sure. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I mean, this is bad news.
If I think it's gonna make 18, what's the second weekend gonna be? Nobody's gonna. And I don't know what you talked. I don't know. What does a Taylor Swift movie have anything to do with The Exorcist? Why are they pulling out because of Taylor Swift? I don't even get it.
I mean, listen, we went nuts on that when that announcement was made, because this would have been such perfect marketing for Exorcist. Swift would have been huge.
Yeah.
What is the buzz around Barstool with the Minifans for this Taylor Swift The Eras tour?
Big Swifties at Barstool, led by Dave Portnoy himself, a big Swiftie.
Yes.
Wow.
Huge. I actually think it's kind of like with Barbie and Oppenheimer, where every week they kept saying, actually, I think we're underreporting it. I think they're underreporting this right now. Taylor Swift went to a football game when we're taping this today. It was the biggest story in America. This will open to the 150 million. 150.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
150. That is
wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
I saw that today. She was shown in the box rooting for, I guess, her boyfriend now. Is that official?
I guess, yeah. I don't know, but yeah, she was there, and and so she's, that'll make 150 million opening weekend guaranteed. I know my daughter's friends are all excited. They're going, like 30 of them are going, and they're going to get. And by the way, that crowd will go and see it 3 times. They'll see it 3 times.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Repeat business. Also, the thing with The Exorcist is that, we young men do see horror movies, but young women see horror movies in droves. I mean, they love to go and get scared. And the fact that this Taylor Swift movie is coming right so close to The Exorcist, it's got to make all its bones in that first weekend. If it does not make a lot of money that first weekend, it is not going to make anything going forward, because it is going to be Taylor Swift all of October.
Well, the if they had opened the same weekend, you would have had the meme, and you have had people who would have, like with Barbenheimer, been like, I'm going to see them both the first weekend. If Exorcist Believer opens the weekend before, and then, like Kirk is predicting, does a bad number, then it becomes a thing that people want to have nothing to do with the second weekend. So you won't get any Extra Swift, because all the Taylor Swift fans, they'll have listened to the BO Boys, they'll have listened to Kirk Minihane, hear what a bomb this movie was the weekend before, and it's already a joke before Exorcist Swift could even have happened. So it's a total mistake that they didn't open with that, because people would have went just for the novelty of seeing both of these movies the same weekend.
And I've mentioned this before, so I'll be very brief, but when you go to a horror movie, what do? You scream. When you go to a concert, what do? You scream. These people want to be boys, want to be girls, want to be people, right?
People,
yeah.
They are going to want to save their screams for Taylor. They are not going to waste their screams on Exorcist because it is a old IP nobody cares about. It's failed almost every time except for the first time. And so why would you strain your vocal cords when you know the very next weekend you're going to be screaming at the top of your lungs? And you
So
can't go in there hoarse. You can't go in there
you
hoarse.
can't
You
go in
need
there
to be
hoarse.
heard. You
Yeah, you gotta be
need to
ready.
be heard.
So I'll throw this out there as a last minute marketing attempt for Exorcist Believer. Now, we of course have Taylor Swift dating an NFL player. She was at a Chiefs game on camera screaming, let's effing go. That's what she was shown saying from the stands. Great promotion for Taylor Swift to get. I mean, listen, she's already got more fans than she needs, but trying to reach over to even that male demographic, that salt of the earth demographic that maybe isn't in her core base. Should Ellen Burstyn in the next, and time is of the essence, in the next 2 weeks, Kirk, can she start dating an NFL star to get on camera?
I'll do even better. I mean, the big rumor around Massachusetts the last couple of weeks in the NFL is that Bill Belichick broke up with his girlfriend, his longtime girlfriend.
Oh.
You know, he's grumpy. He needs somebody to kind of light. He needs somebody new in his life. Ellen Burstyn comes in and starts dating Bill Belichick. That's fantastic promotion.
Two of the best to ever do
he's
it.
Grumpy. He's kind of scary, but can she tame him? Kind of thing. Yeah. Right. The biggest box office star of all time, Ellen Burstyn.
Yeah.
Right.
And the greatest coach of all time. I mean, this is this is the woman who played Barbara Bush in Oliver Stone's W, one of the great box office hits of all time.
Yeah.
Does Ellen Burstyn sort of spruce him up, give him a new look? And on the sideline, we see, he's in a suit. He's in or at least
sleeves.
Right. She's got sleeves on him. Yeah.
But
she
maybe
could only
maybe he gets really mad and official during the game and his head starts moving. She comes in and calms him down. She's able to talk to him, and
that,
then, here comes The Exorcist coming out this date, and Jim Nantz says it on CBS. They go right to a commercial for it.
Yeah.
That would be huge. I mean, her people, because all these Hollywood couples, they're all set up through management. So Ellen Burstyn's management, Bill Belichick's management, get on this because the Patriots could use that kind of
for
boost
sure
this year.
Yeah.
And
she's she's still in her box office prime. She's 90. So she's got a long way to go. But for this one, that would help.
Right.
Now, are they maybe starting this already, like subtly building up to Belichick having a possession? Because the other weekend he really spiked that red flag.
You saw that, right? Yeah.
That's maybe his skin starts to look a little gray. I didn't watch the game. I was not able to watch the game this weekend. I don't know if his skin is graying, but they could be building to something till we see full on pea soup.
Sure.
On the sidelines by Bill Belichick.
Right. Belichick. Yeah.
I think you got to check the post game today. Did Bill Belichick, and I think this would be telling, did he say that the most important part of a game is possession? Because
you got to win the possession game. You have to win it.
Mm-hmm.
If Belichick says the word possession in a post game breakdown, I think he's about to start dating Ellen Burstyn. That's for sure. So last long range tracking that I want to throw in front of you here, Kirk, is Martin Scorsese, Leo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro. They're all getting back together, and the tracking for Killers of the Flower Moon has come out, and it's looking pretty good. It is currently tracking to open between 27 and 36 million opening weekend. So your long-range thoughts on this? This is an Apple Paramount movie. It's supposedly getting a full-on real theatrical release before it ends up on Apple Plus someday. Leo, biggest star we got going aside from Joker. Him and Scorsese have had, I was just looking at it, 557 million domestic amongst their 5 movies they've done together. So they're averaging $110 million, $111 million domestic a piece for their movies. So what are your thoughts on, and it's 3.5 hours. That's the thing that also everyone's talking about. But what are your thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon?
Super excited for it. Probably my favorite director ever. As somebody nearing the age of 50, I'm not going to lie to you. The bladder is almost a top concern. Like, I want the movie to be great, but I don't want to be sitting there during a great movie thinking I have to pee for an hour and a half. Like once you're 2 hours and 10 minutes in, so I have to figure out. I'm strategizing everything around that, so I have to figure that out. Hopefully, there's something that there's got to be some scene in there where De Niro gives some backstory about something where I can sprint because I pee quick, so I think that should be okay. I feel like that's an oversell for some reason. This is not like Oppenheimer. I don't sense crazy audience anticipation for this. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. The length of it, the trailer is I like the trailer, but it's confusing, I think, for the average film goer. I think it's going to be under tracking. I think. I don't want it to be. I hope it makes 50 million because the reviews seem great. I want it to be great. I'm going to see it opening weekend, but I have my reservations about this. And I think Oppenheimer, in a way, has inflated people's expectation for smart 3.5-hour movies. Oppenheimer was an event. Oppenheimer was pretty clear what it was about. Christopher Nolan's a star, in a way that Scorsese's not. I mean, Nolan, I think, is the biggest director star, maybe even since Spielberg in his prime. So in terms of box office. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be short of that.
Yeah, it really does. The Oppenheimer factor is interesting because it comes down to whether we're overestimating the audience for that type of movie, or has Oppenheimer done enough good these last few months where that kind of audience now is younger people want to see a good movie in a way that they didn't in the 10 years where everything was the Avengers. So
and so much of Oppenheimer was IMAX too. I don't know. Like they really sold you have to see this in IMAX. I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I will see it if I can, but I'm not sensing that with this.
Right.
The explosion, the bomb going off, like you said, created a reason for its theatricality. The reason why you had to see it on a big screen, the reason you had to go to a temple, the art temple, the theater to see it. It is the question, did Oppenheimer create a group of people who hadn't seen a adult grown-up movie before, and are they now excited for another one? I think this is great and perfect timing for this movie to come out to ride that wave if that wave does exist. I mean, listen, we had the same kind of like, will Mission Impossible 7 be huge because of Maverick? And I know that was the same actor, but they're very different things. So, yes, will Oppenheimer, a movie that showed a spectacular explosion, bring the people to see a movie that is going to have great action set pieces, I'm sure, because Scorsese always delivers, but is it going to be enough of a draw? Leo, De Niro, Scorsese, does that add up to anything near Nolan plus bomb?
I think 25 million opening weekend for that, for a 3.5-hour movie about this, is still a pretty damn good opening weekend in 20. I mean, that to me is a huge win.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie was a best-selling book, though. So I do think, I mean, the adults will be there. I mean, the oldsters, I do think, will be there. It is the youngsters. Do the youngsters want to sit through this long of a movie, right? Do they have interest in this sort of piece, which is it's historical. So, it's going to have the History Channel dads, but the youngsters are a question. Who knows? I'm high on this. I do think that there was a certain group of people that, like Pat said, are sick of being fed baby movies. And this is not a baby movie. This is by a man who has done great work for a long time. He is a treasure. I will always treasure him. I was on set. I don't know, Kirk, did I ever tell this story? But I almost gave the great man Scorsese a heart attack while I was on Shutter Island. I was on that set. That's a story for a different time. But
sure.
That's a fact that we save that for pay-per-view.
Save that. Yeah.
We save that for pay-per-view. Yeah.
Right. But the fact that something horrible did not happen, it was averted. I mean, it's better. We're better for it.
Sure.
There's so many movies we would have missed out on if that would have if something bad would have happened.
Now,
we've
one
never
thing
seen De Niro like in that weird young guy makeup in The Irishman. If this didn't happen, it's true. You gave
Nope.
us that. Good point.
A de-aged De Niro
Right.
being called
Kicking that
son.
guy. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
kid.
Yeah,
Kid.
kid. That's right, kid. My
They
They
apologies.
called De Niro Kid
Jesus.
just a year or two ago. So one thing that Killers of the Flower Moon could have used, reteaming Martin Scorsese with his Alice Doesn't Live Here star,
Sure.
Ellen Burstyn.
Won the Oscar for that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
That
a
would have
good
pushed
point.
this over the top. Then Kirk for sure would have been saying the tracking is low if Ellen Burstyn was in this.
80, 90
Yeah.
million. Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
Bob, he's so
Easy.
great. If Scorsese makes a great movie this year, the same year that Nolan makes a great movie, 3-hour movies, people go see them. You're right.
Yep.
Adults I will be very interested. I'll be there opening weekend. Me, people in their 60s and their 70s, and that will be a bladder test for the ages. Can we make it through the movie? Will they pause it? Like you can pause it. Can you actually hit the pause button? Let everybody go to the bathroom. We're gonna find out.
Or put some piping into these seats. Something. You got to figure out something.
Fine. Yeah, I have no shame. Of course.
Yeah. Give us some tubes. So
and will Pat be in the afterwards? Will he be in the lobby talking to
the old people,
women about this? Yeah.
Almost definitely. Almost definitely.
Yeah.
So, guys, what a great episode. So, of course, everyone follow us on social media at the BO Boys Pod. WannaBO senior intern Christopher killing it with the vertical social videos there. And listen, we try and hold him as long as we can, but his name is now officially in the ring for the producing job on Kirk Minihane show, barring, of course, he's got to agree to drop out of college and to go clear and to commit every aspect of his life to Kirk Minihane. Yep. I think if he does that, he becomes the front runner.
Vasectomy too. I mean, I don't want to be too, but yeah, that's a must. Yeah.
I think that's something he's going to do just for the hell of it on a dare. He's in college, you know.
These kids now, like that's a new thing, right? Exactly. That's wacky.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I could see that.
Yeah.
There's a TikTok vasectomy challenge, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he not call in? Did he miss the show the other day because he was drinking? Was that him who was partying in the last episode or no?
He had partied so hard that his internet went out.
Okay, that's a concern. I'm just telling you officially. That's I look. I mean, we could start with a clean slate, but that'd be a concern for my show if we miss a show because he's partying too hard. I'm just
right.
That's why I respect the partying. I'm not saying that, but you know, you got to pick a lane.
I think if he gets this job, immediately the first thing that happens, all his roommates get kicked out to the street. They're gone. Right. So that's huge.
But he's gonna bring the Sydney Sweeney poster. He'll put up on the wall. He'll do the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can bring the youth in here. Good.
So, and listen, order the Kirk Minihane pay-per-view. Go to barstool.tv and order that now because hey, wannabe senior intern Christopher could walk out on that stage, become the new producer. That might be the finale of this pay-per-view. So you got to do that. You got to, of course, watch us on YouTube. We are YouTubers. So subscribe, smash that like button, ring that bell, and email us the boboyspodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your boots on the ground reporting. Let us know who you think Kirk Minihane should name as the producer on his pay-per-view. And of course, everyone order the pay-per-view. You got to support just like, I was going to say just like Sports Alone. No, this is about experiencing the hottest thing going right now, Kirk Minihane show. So order the pay-per-view. And
Kirk, will there be Butt Bongo on this pay-per-view or is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, no, there will be. Yep. The Sibian will be there as well. Ellen Burstyn is going to go on the Sibian.
Wow.
Yep.
That is huge.
It's big, and she's going to make like her head will spin around while she's on it. So yeah, it should be good.
Wow. So she will be crowned Miss New Year's Eve.
I think so. Yeah. Miss Sacco. Yeah. At the live drive-in movie theater. Yeah. I think it's time.
Wow.
This is a must buy then. This has just become more of a must buy.
Just got the confirmation. She just texted me. She's very into it. Yeah. That's promotion. You got to promote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I think we've done it. There's nothing else to say, Clayton, except.
Oh, absolutely not. There's nothing except for until next time.
We'll smell you at the box office. Nailed it.